not Vinisha Umashankar. ठीक. In almost every geography in the world, renewables and in particular solar provides the cheapest electricity that is possible, particularly when the sun is shining. The challenge occurs when it's dark. And when it's dark, obviously you don't get solar energy, and therefore countries have to depend on fossil fuels. Now, in countries where the demand is rising, and that's all developing countries including India, when the demand is rising, you have to build new capacity. And what do I do at that point of time when it is dark? I can't depend on renewables. And therefore, countries find this as the greatest challenge. As the Solar Alliance, we are also looking at creating interconnections between different regions of the world. So, for example, when it is dark in East Asia, it's still light in India. You're having solar electricity. If there was a cable between India and East Asia, that solar electricity could be provided to East Asia. Similarly, when it's dark in India, the solar electricity from the Middle East would come here. What this needs is a global interconnection of regional grids. What we are looking forward to is launching it at COP is the One Sun, One World, One Grid program. This is something that the Prime Minister had said at the first assembly of the International Solar Alliance. And I think we are now much closer towards internationalizing this concept so that there's a broad group of countries who have an interest in providing solar electricity when it is dark. I think there are two technical and one political economic challenge. The two technical challenges are in the area of electricity, which I just spoke to you about. Will we get cost effective storage? The second is particularly in the industrial space where we cannot electrify. What happens there? And there, the world over, including in India and other developing countries, the feeling is that we'll have to move with green hydrogen. So solar electricity used to split water, create green hydrogen, which is then used in the applications where fossil fuels are used today. Consensus will have to grow. It cannot be top down. So we will see a coalition of willing countries, of willing regions of the world, which come into this. So I think what we will need to do is to create a group of countries who are the first movers, but make it very clear that this is not an exclusive group but an inclusive group. As new countries join in, we would welcome them. At the COP, we hope to enter into an agreement with a newly founded group called the Global Energy Alliance, which is a grouping of philanthropies led by the Rockefeller Foundation, includes the IKEA Foundation, Bezos Foundation, and so on, and multilaterals, World Bank, African Development Bank, and so on, to create a 10 billion fund for this project preparation and for the risk mitigation that is there. So we create the projects, we take it to them, and then they help through these project preparation and risk mitigation funds to make those projects safe enough so that they draw in investment from international organizations. Let me be fairly aggressive about this. But even an aggressive scenario, we are talking of at least 1 year from now. We will need to convince regions, we will need to convince countries in those regions. They will need to talk to each other and develop the framework within which they will carry out the bidding or whatever way they want to develop the interconnection. At a minimum, all of this will take a year. The biggest problem is that countries are unable to come up with either the kind of regulatory framework that pulls in investment, and that can happen if countries have very different political and legal structures. That's one. The second is if the path for connection between two countries becomes very large, because countries in between are not stable and therefore you need to have a longer cable or you need a submarine cable. The technology is not the problem. The problem is, will we be able to have cost-effective transfer of electricity? And that, as I said, the two challenges are, the first is a regulatory challenge, and the second is a geopolitical challenge.